What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Dynasty Mafia podcast. With you, as always, Antonio Keenan and Eric joining you on a Sunday night, probably Monday by the time you're listening. Hopefully, you had a good weekend, a football-free weekend, and getting ready for the Super Bowl. So, how was your weekend there, fellas? Keenan and Eric?
Eric?
It was good. I didn't really do much, just kind of hung out, played a little FIFA, But yeah, other than that, nothing really happened.
I'm doing pretty good. I won a few parlays, as you guys know. Almost won 1,200 yesterday. If the Ducks would have kept it, it would have been a split with a couple guys at 1,200. But the Ducks would have kept it under 2. We would have won that. So, but I've been hot on the books, guys. Hopefully, I can carry that over for Sunday.
You have been hot on the books. I gotta start joining in with you a little bit more. You gotta tell your secrets to some fans, man.
Nah, I'll keep those secrets to myself.
No, man, but at least we had a really entertaining Friday, the three of us, dealing with the big Robin Hood fiasco.
Oh man,
with GameStop, I'm sure a lot of people may have heard. If you have not heard, just talking some stocks, some investments. GameStop had quite the inflation on their company on Friday. Throughout the week actually, but Friday had caused a little bit of a halt from Robinhood. So the three of us were kind of sitting in our little group chat having a conversation on what we were going to do. We're going to hold, we're going to sell, what's the plan? And Nokia's obviously was involved, and AMC movie theater. There's a few companies, but man, it was a hell of a week dealing with Robinhood, because I was pretty pissed.
I'm at the point of selling Nokia, honestly. I don't think that's going to happen again. I know, Antonio, you think it's going to happen where the stock flies up to $400 or $500, like GameStop did. But I was watching GameStop all day Friday, and it went from almost 500 and then dipped all the way down to like 700 or 200 within like 45 minutes, I think. So. And
hey, we're going to the moon, though, right?
Hopefully with Dogecoin.
We got Alex Coloza telling us about going to the moon, man. We're gonna hopefully GameStop hits that 1,000, like a lot of the Reddit threads have been talking about. But it's amazing to watch what I guess us normal people in the world of investing can really do to some billionaires. So. It was kind of, like I said, fun, pretty historic. We're going to hear about this for a few years.
My other comment was, I was yelling at my phone watching Dogecoin. Is that how you pronounce it? Go up and down. Every time it went down, I was yelling at it like I was watching a sporting event. And then it would go up, I would start cheering again, and then go down. I think that was Friday or Thursday night. I think that's when it was going up and down, and it hit.
Yeah, it was Thursday at midnight. It hit. Yeah. It hit just about 8 cents, and
should have sold and then bought again.
Dogecoin, part of that cryptocurrency. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about Bitcoin. Yeah. But yeah, Dogecoin is one of those. The next one's on the way up, hit an all-time high. I mean, it was trading. It's funny. I was talking to my dad, and he sent me a text. I showed you guys. He sent me a text, and he goes, "Call me right now," with a picture of this Dogecoin. And I bought it a few months ago, and I made some money quickly in like an hour. And I was telling him about it, and I forgot he threw like $150 in it. And sure as hell, did he like 25 times his money when he pulled up his app that morning. And I'm like, man, that was pretty nice of you to keep holding. So, yeah, man. No, he kept it. He's still gonna keep it for a while. I mean. It's the thing, man. Just throw some money into it, and a couple years from now, maybe see what's going on.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
You're the seller. I keep it. So.
Oh my God, I'm a day trader like crazy. I accidentally took off my day trading rights on Robinhood, and it's like, oh, they might mark you as a pattern day trader. And if that's the case, like I can't make any day trades unless I have 25,000 in my account. I am nowhere near that. So. I turned it off, made like 6 day trades, and I got blocked. I can't make a day trade now for 3 months.
You got yelled at?
Oh yeah, I got yelled at. They're like, no, unless you have 25 grand in your account, you are not making a day trade for 90 days.
Who makes these rules up?
Hey, I don't know, man. I'm just a little peasant. I just want to throw some money around every day. I just get excited.
Yeah.
No, but all right. So let's talk football. Let's talk football. We're getting the week started. We got a Super Bowl coming. Super Bowl 55. Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills. Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Green Bay Packers. It's crazy. We have a Mahomes Brady matchup, almost a fairy tale matchup, right? I mean, you got the GOAT against the potential next GOAT coming up.
Don't.
I know you and I were having that conversation before we hopped on the pod. One that we're definitely going to continue after the Super Bowl happens, discussing it. But what I want to talk about real quick, though, is something I heard that was really interesting. I listened to the CBS Sports podcast. If Mahomes doesn't beat Brady in the Super Bowl this year, Brady will now have 7 championships to Mahomes 1. And now he needs 6 more on top of what he has. And it almost seems really, I mean, 6 in general is unattainable. Like, to even be having that conversation is it's just insane to be able to have that conversation. It's
dumb to even have this conversation right now.
but you can have the conversation, especially if Mahomes wins. Now it's 6-2, right? Now he needs 4 more. He just got 2 in a row. He's still under 25. Andy Reid's going to be there. Tyreek Hill is going to be there. Travis Kelce, even though he's 30, he still maybe has at least 2 more elite years. A rookie running back. Like, can you tell me that 6-2 is unattainable compared to 7-1? I mean, 7-1 just, I almost have to say no.
I'll bet you a 6-pack right now he doesn't win 6 championships.
I'll write that down. We'll seal it up in the safe deposit box. But
20 years from now, what beer are you going to be drinking?
You and I, Keenan, we do have a bet we did talk about before the season. What was it? Andy Reid is 63, I think it was. We said over-under. We set an over-under of 2.5 Super Bowls, discounting last year. So fresh start from this season forward. What do you have over-under 2.5? You took the under, I took the over. And obviously, if he wins, that's going to only be 2 away from that. But that would put him to 4 if he can get there. But, I mean, it's hard to win 1. It's hard to win 2. I'm glad we can have this conversation. It's unfortunate as a Bills fan that we're having the conversation. Mahomes being in the AFC, we just saw what he did to the Bills last week. And we also talked that it's like a Mahomes Brady. I mean, I'm sorry, a Manning Brady. Kind of how maybe we're going to see between Allen and Mahomes, where the Bills, they're going to try to make it through once, twice, maybe 3 times, and they got to take advantage because Mahomes, he's going to be in the AFC Championship many years to come.
You know who I feel bad for? Justin Herbert. That being in that division is going to be whoever the Oakland or Vegas, there it is, Jesus, quarterback is in the future, and who's the other team in that division? Oakland, Chargers, Denver, yeah, and Denver. Geez, they can't hit on a quarterback to save their life. But I feel bad for all those teams, but especially Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert showed some flash this year, and he's got to deal with Mahomes for the next, for his whole career probably. He should request a trade. Get out of there.
Well, we're definitely going to talk about their new coaching hire a little bit. We're going to talk about some of the vacancies that have been filled. Well, all of them have been filled now, but we're going to recap a few of those and then probably have a full episode, more like March or mid-February, to kind of recap everything that's going on. But let's come back to the Super Bowl. Eric, Kansas City is minus 3.5 right now, and the over-under is at 56.5. So who do you have first off? How's the game going to go, and why isn't Brady going to win?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Chiefs, but Brady's not. I don't know. I don't know who to root for because I want Brady to win because the Chiefs just beat the Bills, but I don't want to see Brady win another Super Bowl. But yeah, I think nobody's beating the Chiefs right now. especially with the way they're playing. Mahomes is clearly fully healthy after last game. So yeah, I think they're going to be. I don't even know like what. It all depends. Like the Bucks offense always seems to be up and down. So it's really, what offense are we going to see? Obviously, it's playoff Tom Brady, so they're going to be good, but I just don't think they're going to be able to put enough up to keep up with the Chiefs.
Do you think that they've been, because obviously with their run game, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, we just keep seeing a mixture of them. We saw Fournette look great last week, like the Fournette we haven't been able to see in a while. But who do you think is going to be the running back of choice for Tampa Bay? Do you think they kept Fournette fresh for this moment? When they sat him for Ronald Jones 2 weeks ago?
Possibly, but honestly, I think they can just go with whoever, whatever the hot hand, just whoever's doing good, because Fournette can go out there and just, having a bad game, and obviously they're going to take him out and use Ronald Jones. But I think they're going to start with Fournette. Obviously, he'll be the starter and they'll roll with him, but if he's not doing anything special, I definitely expect Ronald Jones to get some carries.
So Keenan, we were talking about Travis Kelce again before this being unstoppable. What do you think that the Bucs are going to do to be able to counteract that? And with that being said, like, do you think Gronkowski is going to be able to step up during this, or do you think it's going to be more? Well, I guess explain to me, who do you think with Travis Kelce? Who do you think they're going to line up with him? Do you think they're going to shadow him? Do you think they're going to let him be himself and just let Mahomes do his thing?
Oh man, I don't know who's going to shadow him. I don't know what defense they're going to come up with, but I think the best thing they're going to do is try to keep Mahomes and that offense off the field. You guys just mentioned Ronald Jones and Fournette. I expect both of those guys to be a big factor in this game. I expect Alex Closa. He's got Jones. He's predicting Jones to have a big game, but I think that's the way they're going to do it. They're going to try to keep this a lower scoring game than what we are expecting. Both of these defenses are very underrated. Look what the Chiefs just did to Allen, who's having a Hall of Fame, a MVP year, and then look what Tampa Bay did to the potential. Why do I keep saying Hall of Fame? But to the potential MVP. So both these defenses are underrated. I think it's not going to be as high scoring as we're expecting. I think they're going to try to keep Mahomes off the field. They're going to try to give him less possessions. So that's why I think that's the only way they can try to beat him is keep Kelce and keep Mahomes, keep Hill off the field. So I'm going to go with Brady. I got to go with the GOAT. I know Antonio thinks Mahomes is going to be the GOAT tomorrow when we wake up, but I still think Brady finds a way to win these games, guys. And who's going to help him win? The lights are never going to be brighter than this game, ever. And so, and Brady eats away at this shit. Excuse me, eats away at this crap, and he's gonna find a way to win. You know who's gonna help him? I just said Ronald Jones and Fournette. The run game's gonna be very effective. They're gonna get those little dink and dunks out of the backfield with those two guys. Antonio Brown was out last week. Hopefully he comes back. He's healthy. Godwin get a couple catches, and Mike Evans, I think he brings a big mismatch on those corners in Kansas City, where I feel like the Bills, they have smaller wide receivers, and that played into the Kansas City Chiefs hands, and they couldn't get any separation, where I think Mike Evans, he's a bigger guy, and just throw it up there and let him make the catch. And Godwin and Antonio Brown have that speed still that they could find a way to get open for Brady.
Well, you're exactly right. And even if they're not open, Brady's not afraid to throw the ball to them.
Now that I'm just saying this, it's got me thinking the Bucs and the Bills offense are two completely different offenses.
Absolutely. They're a lot more physical, the Bucs.
What's that?
Bucs are a lot more physical.
And they got a run game that balances out the pass attack. where I think
two running backs to do it.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think the Bucs can figure this out. I know everyone thinks Mahomes is Superman and he's unbeatable, but I'm not counting out Tom Brady in the Bucs yet.
Well, and even look, Brady's been counted out since the first round, right? Since they played the Redskins. He
was counted out when he signed in Tampa. And you're right. I counted him out against the Redskins. Well, they almost did lose that game, though. They almost did.
Hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The win's a win. And the thing, you mentioned with Tampa Bay being a more physical team, and I was saying Brady's not afraid to throw it. The problem, though, Keenan, last week, he had 3 picks. And we were, again,
in the second half.
Yeah, he had 3 picks last week, and they're not. You do that against Kansas City, you're not winning that ball game. We just saw Buffalo basically. They weren't as aggressive as maybe they could have been. A conversation for another day. But the point was they couldn't score, and if they couldn't score, they weren't getting turnovers. So you can't have the Bucs turning the ball over. They need to keep scoring. I think the first team to 30 is going to win. I really do.
Lower scoring than people are expecting.
Yeah, it's at 56.5. So like a 30-27, that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for a close game all the time, right? We're going to predict a close game, especially with these two teams. But truly, I think it's going to be a back and forth. I think the second half is going to be an amazing show of offense between these two quarterbacks. I don't really think the defense is going to matter this week. I really don't. I think you're just going to see the offenses showcase each other, and you're going to see some beauty between both quarterbacks. But the thing is, though, is the Chiefs' offense going to predicate themselves around nothing but Hill and Travis Kelce like they did last week against the Bills, right?
And Hardman.
Hardman had a few plays, but I mean, 80% of the production was between Hill and Kelce. They had over 200 yards. They had over 20 catches. I mean, are they going to try to do that against the Bucs? Because that's what I think the Bucs can defend, like you said. I think they can get really physical. They can double team, triple team if they need to. So I think it's going to be a hell of a game, and I think the Bucs are going to win too.
If the Chiefs win, it's a 20-point win for them. If the Bucs win, it's a 3-point win, 4-point win.
Yeah. Today my heart's telling me Tampa. We'll see how the rest of the week progresses. But
go Bucs, go. I don't like how that game ended in Kansas City. I really don't. I don't like how. Never mind. That's a conversation for another day.
Let's move it on. Let's move it on though to some serious news. 2 franchise quarterbacks were dealt before the Super Bowl.
Has that ever happened before?
I've never seen it happen. I didn't get my chance to look in the record books to see if it's ever happened before. I got to assume it hasn't, especially when you've seen the recent trend of quarterbacks and trades really getting hyped up now. And I think it's amazing from what offseason we're about to have with all the quarterback options to be able to start it like this. So if you haven't heard, get out from underneath your rock. But Matthew Stafford was traded from the Detroit Lions to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Goff, 2 future first-round picks, and a third-round pick. On the surface, last night, I was one of the later ones to seeing the news. Eric, I kind of saw you saw it first on us, and I was like very taken aback. And as I had more time to process it, I'm going to let Eric talk first on what he thinks on the trade, but I really needed time to process that one. So, Eric, what do you think? What do you think's going on? What do you like most? Who do you like better between the trade? Who won that? Which team?
Oh, I mean, I think it was pretty fair. They both kind of won in their own right because, obviously Stafford is the better quarterback, and the Rams are going all in trying to win a Super Bowl. So obviously they had to mortgage the future to get that. I was expecting at least a first. Jared Goff on top of 2 firsts and a third was a bit surprising, but I guess that's what they had to do to get it done. And I think it was great for Detroit. They get a quarterback who, he had a down year this year, but before that, he did show some promise, and he could do something there in Detroit. And on top of that, they get a couple picks. So I think it was really good for both teams.
They Vegas had them from plus 1,800 to plus 1,400 after this trade. That would be the sixth best odds to win the Super Bowl next year.
Oh, the Rams?
The Rams, yeah, they jumped. I think they jumped from ninth to sixth with that trade. So again, on the surface, to only jump again, it's Vegas, it's odds, but we tend to follow a lot of that, right? And just to jump that many spots, that's where I question, like, was it worth the move to increase 7 years in age at your quarterback? They were in salary cap hell, right? They were in salary cap hell. So that's where I do think a lot of this came from. So that was my initial reaction was, why are you increasing your age to get a quarterback like that when you were just in the Super Bowl 2 years ago? But then again, when you kind of digest a little bit, Jared Goff's cap hit $35 million this year, $33 million next year, $33 million in 23, and then 29 in 2024. So he's not a free agent until 2025. He just signed that contract last year, as opposed to Matthew Stafford, who's got a cap hit of 33, then 26 million. And then 2023, he's basically wide open. It's $3 million. So they'll either cut him, they'll get rid of him, or 2022 they can get rid of him if it doesn't work out for just $6 million. I figured they'll probably extend him after this year when they see how well it works, because he does have a better arm compared to Jared Goff. I just don't know where it went totally wrong. Do one of you have an answer for me? Like it just seems like you're with your girl, right? You have your significant other and you're going strong and you're about to hit your year anniversary, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, you get a text message and it's like, hey, we're broken up.
It's the one thing that they still have to do, even with Stafford, is fix that offensive line. I mean, I don't care what else they do. I mean, they have everything. They have a great defense. They got a great quarterback now. They have great wide receivers. They have a pretty good tight end. They have a really good running back. That offensive line needs to step up, and then yeah, that they're going to be at the next level.
Do you think kind of what I was alluding to? Do you think that Sean McVay was just like, yo, Jared, I'm sorry, buddy. It's not going to work out anymore. I need to upgrade you, and you just need to get the hell out of here. Sorry, man.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of didn't do that.
I'm telling you, like we went from him being the strongest dude. He has such grit, such determination, playing with a broken thumb, just had surgery. He's our quarterback. He's great. And like now, hey, the first chance I didn't even think the Rams were a candidate for Stafford. Maybe we should have, in hindsight, thought about that, since McVay throws his first round picks around like they're nothing. But with the mindset it's a late first round pick, I guess I understand that. But Keenan, what do you think? Who got the better side in this?
I agree with Eric. I think both sides won. If you think about it, the Lions are playing a long game here. They know they're not going to win their division. They're not going to be competing for Super Bowls anytime soon. Get those picks. You take the salary on Jared Goff, and that's what it came. That's why they got those picks. Is the cap relief for the Rams. Now, I believe the Lions have the fourth pick in the draft this year.
I believe it's the fourth pick. Yeah,
fourth pick. They could still draft a quarterback, Justin Fields or who's the kid from North Dakota, Trace Lance. Those two quarterbacks are probably going to be both there, and both are going to need time to develop, if not more than a year. So you have Jared Goff in there, who is going to help you stay afloat. Don't become an embarrassment in the league, and it gives you time to develop this young quarterback. Plus, you got 2 extra first round picks, and that helps you add on to your team for your young quarterback if you decide to draft one this year. And they had pick 7. Thanks, Antonio. But I think it came all down to the cap relief for the Rams. Like Eric said, yes, they do need to upgrade that offensive line. However, I think they need a wide receiver. And the reason I say this, I think their wide receiving core is pretty much the same wide receiver. Cooper Kupp Woods, and who's the other guy?
So they're probably going to let Josh Reynolds go. He's a free agent.
Josh
It's probably
Reynolds,
going to be Van Jefferson. Their
So
sophomore.
now they need someone like I'm not saying they're going to trade for him because he was just traded and he just signed a contract in Arizona, but someone like a Hopkins, someone like a AJ Green in his prime. So just a different wide receiver that's physical and can, can make those 20, 30-yard catches down the field. Where I feel Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, yeah, they're great. They're good wide receivers, but I think it's limiting that offense because they're so similar, if that makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And if I'm hearing you correctly, it almost makes it sound like they should sign Kenny Galladay.
That would be perfect. Now it gives them that cap relief. Gives them. I don't think they will though. I don't know how much.
I just want to poke fun at that because that's what you're explaining. But maybe Brashad Perriman. I think he might be. I might be wrong. He might have another year with the Jets. But if not, Brashad Perriman would be a nice addition. No, he's not the standout star player like you're mentioning, but he is somebody else that could be a deep field threat because Cooper Kupp. I mean, let's not forget Golden Tate with Matthew Stafford back in Detroit. Yeah. Cooper Kupp is going to eat in the slot like Golden Tate was. Golden Tate had 100 catches or at least 90 catches for 3 straight years. So I think that's what we're going to see Cooper Kupp get. Unfortunately, he was loved in the red zone by Goff a lot. So I wonder how that's going to reflect. But we haven't really seen high touchdowns the last few years anyway.
My favorite after that trade was happened, I saw 3 texts from Eric, Cooper Kupp on the block. Literally 3 minutes after the trade was made. But my other point was when it comes to this trade, I don't think it's that much of a talent-wise jump for the Rams at quarterback. But they better win it. They better win now. They better win the Super Bowl in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, or they're in big trouble because no cap room and no draft picks equals you'll be rebuilding in 4 years.
We keep saying that with all the trades that they keep making because they gave up their first for Jalen Ramsey, but McVay seems to keep proving us wrong. They seem to keep. They did just make the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
They made the Super Bowl and then they laid an egg.
Yeah, they did have they had a bad year prior, but they were plagued with injuries in 2019. We obviously see what happened with Todd Gurley.
I'm saying they laid an egg in the Super Bowl. But then and then the last two years they lost in the divisional round. So
and that's why they upgraded. They upgraded an arm, but you're right. What's if you're upgrading at arm talent, I mean Stafford's top 5 arm talent for sure. You're right. You need to get somebody downfield. So maybe AJ Green is going to be a really nice addition for them. That could be really great. So let's shift over to Detroit real quick because we were talking about Kenny Galladay a second ago. It sounds like at least prior to this trade, Kenny Galladay was going to be a franchise tag possibility for Detroit. I still think that's going to be the case. They're not trading for Goff and letting your best wide receiver walk. You're not going to have him throwing to Marvin Jones. Come on. So what do you think now with Dan Campbell being hired as the new coach there? What's going to happen?
You mean Mr. Kneecaps?
Mr. Kneecaps. The former assistant head coach for a while with Sean Payton and the Saints. So you'd like to assume when you see Sean Payton that tree's that apple falls close to the tree there, where he's going to bring a lot of creativity to that offense. Sean McVay was very creative. So get Jared Goff, who's used to a creative offense, kind of a complicated offense. I'm not sure if that's what they're going to bring, but if that's what he does choose to instill into that offense, I think it's going to be really good. And he has talked about DeAndre Swift. He said they're going to get somebody that's going to give DeAndre Swift the ball. Darrell Bevell, the new offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, not Darrell Bevell. Marvin Lewis. Geez, he's coming in as their co-defensive coordinator. No, Lovie Smith. Why am I blanking here? I apologize. Keenan, talk to me real quick. Why?
Are you talking about
Detroit?
What the hell here? Let's see here.
Oh yeah, they're canceling a lot. I'm looking at a bunch of lists here. Anyways, talk about DeAndre Swift for me and what they're going to do with him now, because you can't keep Adrian. Adrian Peterson to be gone. You're probably going to either cut Kerryon Johnson or trade him. I think he has at least another year left, or maybe they'll keep him as a backup. But is Swift going to get 400 touches this year?
I hope so. I mean, I got him in a couple dynasty leagues, so I would love that, but I don't think so, man. I don't know. I still think Jared Goff's still a good quarterback that can make throws on the field. So I don't think they're gonna want to turn around and hand off the ball or do any dink and dunks.
Anthony Lynn. I don't know why I blanked. There it was. Anthony Lynn.
Actually, yes. Anthony Lynn.
Why.
Yes, he'll have 400 touches. Anthony Lynn's their offense coordinator. He's trash. Okay.
Yeah. Kneecaps is like Dan Campbell, head coach, and he wants to get someone to let that DeAndre Swift is going. They're going to take care of Swift, right? They're bringing Anthony Lynn, the run heavy man. So yes, I know you say he sucks, Keenan, but look what Austin Eckler did. Look what Melvin Gordon did in San Diego, right? They were the workhorse. Melvin Gordon got a lot of the ball. Austin Eckler came in too, but they were running the ball 35, 40 times a game.
Melvin Gordon did that before he got there.
You're correct, but he still was sustainable. He had the best yards per carry under Anthony Lynn of his career. Take that for what you will. But I think that seeing what Austin Eckler can do with, what was it, his first game back, he had like 16 catches this season. That is what I really want from DeAndre Swift, because I know they're going to give him the ball 15 times a game on the ground. That's easy. You better give it to him at least 4 times in the air. I want 50 catches from him. If he gets 50 catches, you're talking about a borderline top 5 back, right? And that's what you're going to look for in Dynasty. Give me a young running back who's going to get the ball a lot. That's who's going to win you games.
But if he's getting 400 touches, though, he's getting a lot more than 15 carries a game.
Well, yeah, 400 touches puts you some quick math. That puts you right around 24 a game, right? So, I mean, if he's going to be getting at least 15, 18 on the ground, give him 5, 6 through the air. That's a hell of a lot of touches. Yeah. So that's why 400 was kind of the bar. I'm wondering, Derrick Henry had like 394. So you obviously see that it takes a lot to get there. But I think that 300 is easy to say. So you can give him at least 60 catches with 240 on the ground. That's 1,500 total yards. He's going to get double-digit touchdowns. He finished with 10. And we how many times were you screaming at your television screen at Adrian Peterson, like, why is Adrian Peterson on the goal line? Like, why is he robbing the touchdowns? Give it to DeAndre Swift. That's why you have him. He had some red zone catching touchdowns as well. And Jared Goff checks down. I don't know. I'm not too worried about DeAndre Swift. I like the move. He's probably not going to throw as far downfield as Matthew Stafford was, which is giving a lot more opportunity. I think they're probably going to line up Swift in the slot, and I'm going to stop talking about Swift. Anybody else want to finish anything up here with Detroit?
No, I think
let's not. Sorry. Well, if we talk about them keeping Galladay, Eric, why don't you talk about Kenny Galladay real quick? Is this a downgrade for you getting Jared Goff compared to Matthew Stafford for Kenny Galladay, who unfortunately was hurt for most of the season?
I don't know. I mean,
presuming they franchise him. Sorry, like I said, free agent, but I'm assuming they will. Let's call that conversation like that.
Yeah. Presuming they franchise him, obviously, definitely a little bit of a downgrade, I would say. But I still think that Kenny Galladay could put up wide receiver 1 numbers with him. Just not necessarily top 5 like I think he could with Stafford. But more of a back end, high end wide receiver 2. So definitely a downgrade, but I'm still not worried about Galladay. Spoiler alert, he's going to be my buy for later in the episode.
Yeah, we're going to go over some buy. Just a couple. We'll give a buy sell each of us. Getting ready way too early buy sell for the 2020 and beyond. But Kenny Galladay currently on DLF ADP for January. Again, pre-trade, so I'm really intrigued to see what his ADP is going to be for February. But currently, he's wide receiver 23. He is right after Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, and Brandon Ayuk. And he is right before Chase Claypool, DJ Chark, and Cortland Sutton. So of Chase Claypool, DJ Chark, and Cortland Sutton, would you want any of those over Kenny Galladay?
What were the names again? I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Chase Claypool, DJ Chark, or Cortland Sutton.
No, I'm taking Galladay.
Yeah, I'm taking Galladay as well.
I don't.
Okay.
Sutton's coming out off an ACL injury, correct?
He will be. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Claypool. There's 2 other wide receivers there, so who knows what's going on with that offense, and we don't know what Big Ben's deal is. And who was the last one?
So it was Sutton, Chark, Claypool,
and I don't know. I like Chark a lot this year, but I'll say Galladay. I think Galladay is a top 10 wide receiver in this league. He showed it in the past.
He has. So would you have him over Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk?
Yes.
Okay, so
until San Francisco gets Jimmy G out of there, I'll take Galladay over Ayuk. And I don't even know who the other 2 are. But I'm still taking Galladay.
All right, man. We will.
Would you take any of those over Galladay? Why are you putting us on the spot?
Yeah.
He
comes up with these questions that we have a sheet that we run all week long, and these questions come up out of thin air in the middle of the show. No research or anything.
That's the point. I love the impromptu-ness. No, I mean the problem with me is I think you have to downgrade him because of the fact that Stafford is leaving, because of the fact that the connection that he and Stafford did have. He was one of the few wide receivers that was getting you 10+ touchdowns each year. And the second that Stafford's gone, I don't know if Goff's going to be able to help keep that consistency. And because Goff's afraid to throw the football a lot of times, right? And if Stafford wasn't afraid to throw the ball to Galladay up, just toss it up to your big man and let him do his thing. How many less targets does that mean Galladay is going to get down the field unless he has separation? Is he good at getting separation? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that Stafford only threw to him with separation. He wasn't afraid to sling it. That's where I think Goff's going to need to make the difference. But what I would think of those players, I wouldn't take Deontay Johnson over him. Actually, you know what? I lied. I would. I like what Deontay Johnson can bring to the table, and it's because touchdowns. If Galladay can't get double-digit touchdowns, a lot of these guys are closer for me. But I think Brandon Ayuk, I really like what he's doing in San Francisco. I think I'd take him over Galladay. And Cortland Sutton, I'd take over Galladay. He's a younger version of Kenny Galladay, and I think Detroit's going to fix, or Denver's going to fix themselves. I don't think it's going to be Drew Lock. So I do think that Ayuk's going to be better than Galladay, at least for the future, because he's just 22. But I really love Galladay. I was talking about him last season as being a top 10 wide receiver as well. It's just today, January 31st, he's definitely higher for me than 23rd. I just have to figure that one out. Got to look a little more. Keenan, let's slide over to the Chargers. Let's get back to the Chargers. You were talking about Justin Herbert. They hired Brandon Staley, the ex-Rams defensive coordinator, first-year defensive coordinator. He's coming in now. Anthony Lynn, as we just said, left the Los Angeles Chargers, but they brought in Joe Lombardi as the offensive coordinator. So what do you think is going to happen now with Justin Herbert? Just a little bit, all right? Not too much. I know we don't want to spoil anything.
I don't know, man. I'm hoping Joe Lombardi. How do you pronounce his name?
He's got a trophy named after him, man.
I know, Lamar. Oh my God, why am I struggling? But
Lombardi.
Joe Lombardi. There it is. But I think hopefully he's learned a little bit. One, he was Detroit's OC. Detroit's offense struggled, but he was a quarterback coach there in New Orleans for a little bit, and Hill developed it. So I think he deserves a little bit of credit on that front. But we need to make sure that he has a creative offense, because if he doesn't come up with some plays, that will suit Herbert, I think Herbert's going to struggle, and I think that offense is not going to improve. I really was hoping to see them hire, someone. I don't know, man. Dable would have been perfect, honestly. That's we all thought he was going there, and I thought,
Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator for the Bills.
I think this hurts his value. I really do, guys. I hate to say it. I'm a big Herbert fan. I loved Herbert. I loved him more than Tua coming out of last year's draft. But I didn't like the hire at coach, and I didn't like the hire at OC.
So we're definitely going to have a nice ADP show in February, like we said, reacting to DLF's ADP for February because of what January came up before a lot of the coaching hires. Herbert's number 6 right now as dynasty quarterbacks, right before Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson, right after Lamar Jackson. So would you rather have Justin Herbert or Dak Prescott? Assuming, I think we all agree Dak's probably going to be a Cowboy next year.
Yeah.
But even if he's not,
I have Dak in a super flex league. I've offered him for Herbert, and I've been rejected. So I would 100% take Herbert over Dak.
Wow.
For the long term, and I love Dak, and we all know I'm a huge Dak fan, but I'm really big on Herbert. I think, I wasn't a huge fan of Anthony Lynn either. I didn't think he was a great coach either, and I think no matter who it's going to be, he still has Keenan Allen, he still has Mike Williams. We'll see what happens with Hunter Henry. Austin Eckler's still there, so I think he still has the weapons, and I still think he's going to be putting points up.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with Keenan that he's definitely a downgrade for me. I thought 6 was too high, even if they kept everything as it was. I don't know. I didn't like a lot of when Austin Eckler came back. We saw Herbert some of his worst games of the season. And the amount of times that, yes, his defense was a big reason that he was playing from behind most of the games, right? It was a big reason that he had a lot of good stats and a lot of good accolades. He had the rookie record for touchdowns. I think he had it for yards as well. And when you're playing from behind most of your games, that's going to happen. What was he, 3-11, I believe? So he didn't really win very much. And like I said, when Austin Eckler came back in, his point total dropped a lot. So it kind of worries for me when you go from averaging almost 27 points a game to then going down to almost 21. That's 6 points a game. That's a lot. In 4 points.
If Dallas extends Dak, maybe I'm thinking a little differently. But I guess at this point right now in a dynasty league, I would take Herbert over Dak. But
I respect it.
Like I said, I'm a huge Dak fan. If Dallas extends him, then maybe I think about the situation a little bit differently, but
so
that's where I'm at right now.
Are you saying this with him only being in Dallas for a year or not being in Dallas at the moment? Is that what you're kind of going off of? You just
if I knew he was going to be in Dallas for another 5 or 6 years, with CeeDee Lamb and potentially either Amari or Gallup, both of them for another year, potentially one's going to be gone after 2021. We'll see about that, but. Then that's a different situation, but we got to see what happens. If they're just going to keep franchising him, we saw what happened with Kirk Cousins when that happened. He's eventually going to move on, but if they extend him, I may think about it differently.
I hear you there. Like I said, I can respect that.
I think I stick with Dak. I don't think Dak goes anywhere. I think eventually the deal's going to get done there, and the weapons that he has at wide receiver and with Elliott and I'm trying to think if they have a tight end. I don't think they do, but
they got Blake Jarwin. They got Blake Jarwin was injured.
Yeah, so I think I don't know. It's so tough. I wish if they would have hired a better OC, the Chargers. I take Herbert. I really do. Or a better head coach, offensive minded like a Dable. But I got to go with Dak. I think we saw the games that we saw Dak play before he got hurt. He was playing unbelievable.
I got you. All right, I got you. Let's.
How about you? Who would you stop putting us on a spot? Who would you keep, or who would you take?
Sorry, I thought I kind of made that. I'd go Dak. Like I said, I downgraded Herbert. He certainly defeated a lot of the things that I didn't like about him, and a lot of things people didn't like about him, where he couldn't throw the ball downfield very far. His arm wouldn't be consistent all the time. He had trouble reading progressions. Like, he did really well. He did very well. Like I said, way better than I anticipated. With that being said, you set a bar for yourself. You set a very high bar for yourself that now it's tough to meet. You have a new system, a new coach, a defensive coach at that. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a different year 2 for him than most year 2 quarterbacks.
Are you scared that we saw Justin Herbert's ceiling this past year?
That's a really good way to put it. I mean, that's a really good question, because it was a phenomenon, right? He was a phenomenon. When he started, he came out, he lit it on fire. He had 24, 16, 27, 31, 41, 26, 25, 23, 30, right? Like, amazing games. Those were his first games of his NFL career. Those were his fantasy points. And then, like I said, Austin Eckler comes in, 16, 6, 18, 29, and 17. Like, can you rely on someone like that? If that's what you're seeing is the latter, but now you have no idea. You have a whole new offense coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to sit here and say it's going to be the former and they're just going to let him throw the ball and let it go, maybe he will be. But it's going to be the regression train for me so far on Herbert. I'm glad. I'm going to be excited to dive a little bit deeper with him. Let's fill up 2 more here. We want to talk quick about Houston, wrap it up with Philly, do our buys and sells, and we'll call it a night, huh? Houston, we know a bunch of turmoil. We know they may be in need of a new franchise quarterback, with Deshaun Watson officially announcing a trade. But they just hired David Culley, head coach. Their new head coach being David Culley. They've also hired their new GM, Nick Caserio. A bunch of it causing Deshaun Watson. So he says nothing additionally to his unhappiness, but more of it just pushing for him to be pushing for a trade. So what do you think is going to happen now with Houston? I guess we have to assume Watson will be gone. I don't think there's any way that they're keeping him. So how's life going to go now with David Culley coming into the helm and they're restarting basically?
Well, I disagree with you. I think Watson stays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think the Stafford trade pretty much, I know we discussed it a little bit yesterday, but I think the nail's in the coffin on any Deshaun Watson trade. I think they figure it out. Their owner already came out and said they have no interest in trading him. I don't think any team besides maybe Jets and Miami have the caps, or not the cap space. You're writing messages over here. I'm trying to read that and talk. I don't think anyone has the draft capital besides those 2 teams, and I don't think the Jets can afford that because the Jets are so bad. They need players at every position almost. If they trade all their draft capital and Deshaun Watson goes there, what does that do for him? And then when it comes to Miami, why not just keep Tua then and just keep building around your team if it's going to cost you 4 first-round picks?
Well, we don't know what it's going to cost.
It's going to cost. I mean, Stafford just cost 2.
I mean, yeah, we could sit here and say that, of course, what we saw just happened increased the value of Watson, but again, I think we talked about a lot of it was salary cap possibly related. Like, if you give those more picks to Detroit because they're taking on a heavier salary cap, so you can save yourself, it makes a little bit more sense. I mean, yeah, obviously they're going to look at that and say, hey, look, this is what happened. But, I mean, when you saw the Laramie Tunsil deal, now you see the David Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins deal, I don't know if people are using those as a crutch because we saw Stephon Diggs go for a different scale.
I think if it's this year's picks, it's a little bit different because if you look at the first round picks from the Stafford deal, they're 1 year and 2 years out. So obviously the picks this year are going to be way more valuable, and depending on what they are. But like Keenan said, I mean, I don't think Houston wants to trade him. Whereas Stafford and the Lions, they mutually agreed to part ways. But I don't know.
And that's what Houston needs to do, unfortunately. Like, I mean, but what do you think they're going to say? Yeah, well, brand new GM, brand new coach. By the way, we don't want our franchise quarterback we still have for another 4 years, who is already unhappy. Of course, they're going to.
But I'm saying, they have the luxury of waiting out until they get the right deal. And the only way they're going to get that right deal if a team is willing and able to pay what they want. And after that deal for Stafford, I'm assuming they're going to want at least a quarterback and 2 first-round picks.
And you know what? Give them Darnold, give them Tua. I guarantee you one of those 2 teams will do it, or somebody else will come out of the fold that we don't know. They don't need to trade for a quarterback. What if they just grab Jameis for a couple years? Get the haul, grab Jameis for a year or 2, draft another quarterback.
The haul to you is 2 draft picks?
No, there'll be more than that, obviously. But
that proves my point. Then
you don't need to trade Miami to get Tua in that process. If you don't like Tua, trade Watson. They can keep Tua. But I'm saying, like,
what's the point of Tua staying there? You might as well just get Tua in the baggage.
Houston doesn't care.
I mean, it's most likely gonna happen because he's coming out publicly requesting it, and he wants out.
It don't matter. He has 4 years left. What is he gonna do? Retire? If I'm the owner of the Texans, I'm saying I'm not trading you. What are you gonna retire? Okay, go retire.
We just saw players in sports. We're seeing them have the power to do things.
But then I think about it, if they're going to make a move, they're going to want to do it before the end this year's NFL draft. So I don't know.
Well, and they're probably going to owe him a roster bonus when the New Year League starts. So they probably don't want to do that. So I mean, if anything's happening, it's probably going to be before March, before the new league year. But Keenan, you're going to keep him with what? Like, what are you going to do? That's why I think he needs a fresh start. Give him a fresh start. It doesn't matter that
he's getting a fresh start. He's getting a new GM and a new coach.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a whole new team. He's and Will Fuller's a free agent. Like, if they don't keep him, then he really has nothing. I don't know. I think if he can go,
but if he goes to the Jets, Antonio, what does he have?
They're building around him. He has a team that's willing to build around him.
You're using the draft picks that you're gonna build around him to get him.
And he's fine with that, man. He just lost his best wide receiver.
Well, go 5 and 12 or whatever, 4 and 12 or whatever you want. Then.
It's beyond the money now, and I can respect that with him. I totally get that. So we'll talk more about Houston as we find out more to come with the Washington.
Did you mention who they hired? Now you got me all heated.
Oh, sorry. Assistant head coach, wide receiver coach David Culley from the Ravens.
What are they doing?
But seriously, that's what I'm trying to explain. You can't. No, don't you? You cannot retract.
No. I'm not retracting anything. I don't think a trade happens.
Well,
no matter who the coach is, but like, what?
As Watson though, like, who are they hiring? I don't know this guy. I don't even know who David Culley is, and I'm a freaking quarterback in the league. Like, come on, man. And then you're trading away DeAndre Hopkins. You're giving me old man David Johnson. You're trading the farm for Tunsil, who doesn't even do so well. Like,
but that was the old coach.
We're beating the Texans to death right now, and we're about to make fun of somebody else though. I think we should move on. Whatever. Right? let's talk about Nick Sirianni here, the new head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you haven't seen his press conference on the hire, go for it. It was a lot of fun. Seconds.
It was great. I thought it was good.
It was great. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of system conversations. I think their system is going to be a pretty good system. It's a system that I'm excited to see.
A system that's going to have smart people in place. So the system works. Yeah.
As long as it's a good system, I think it'll be a great system. So, anyways, they hired him. He was the old offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. Under Frank Reich, who was the old offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, when they had Carson Wentz, and they obviously sided with Carson Wentz. They're bringing in somebody to fix him, quote unquote. And apparently Nick Sirianni's smart and not complicated system is going to be the one that's going to do it. Honestly, though, with all jokes aside, I'm not too worried about press conference with him. I'm excited what he's going to bring to the table, though. I'm very eager to learn. Frank Reich was very creative. He did a lot of good things. He really did with that offense. And we saw what he brought over, showing continuity bringing Phillip Rivers from the Chargers to the Colts to have the season that they have, to make the run that they run in 1 year, I think Sirianni can do exactly that when he goes to the Eagles. I think that's what their expectations are. Hey, let's bring a system Wentz is familiar with. Let's make it work. Let him run the show. And I think Miles Sanders is going to be someone who's going to benefit from that, and we're going to talk about that a little more in a minute. But Eric,
so who's the coach? Is it Frank Wright or is it this Nick guy?
So
you're talking a lot about Frank Wright doing this, doing this, but I don't see how that works.
So
Frank Wright was calling the plays.
Of course he was, right? But Frank Reich left the Eagles in 2016 after they won, went to the Chargers for 2 years as the OC, and then went to the Colts in 2018. He brought Sirianni with him. He's been there for the whole 3 years. He's learning under Reich. He knows that system front to back, and it's the system that he ran in Philadelphia. They're going to go to Philadelphia, and they're going to run that same system, what Wentz is familiar with, what he did on his Super Bowl run, his MVP run. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to work. That's what they're going to do, though. That's the expectation. But it's fast pace. We saw what he did with Nyheim Hines. I want to get into that right now. I want to hear what Eric's thoughts are real quick on Sirianni's hire here for the Eagles.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of still a little iffy on. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to shake out. I was a bit surprised on it. I think everyone kind of was. I'm like you said, I'm hoping it brings great things for Miles Sanders and Carson Wentz as well. But I'm interested to see that the thing I'm most interested to see is how the whole Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz situation is going to play out there. Do we think it's going to be Carson Wentz all season? Do we think it might be a battle in training camp? Or
no, I think it is. I think they sided with Wentz, like Antonio said, over Doug Peterson. And I think they won. Look at the trade that just happened. If they wanted to get rid of Wentz, they could have got rid of him pretty easily. Obviously, what happened with LA and Goff. And second, they brought in a coach that is supposedly bringing a system that Carson Wentz won the Super Bowl with, but he really didn't win the Super Bowl because another quarterback won. So,
yeah,
very true. With that being said, then why don't we just kind of jump to our buy sells? We're going to start with our buys. I have Miles Sanders, so that's kind of why I just want to kind of continue this conversation. I think Sirianni is going to bring a lot of good things for Miles Sanders. He's a massive buy for me right now. He's actually going. We like to use, as we always talk about, we like to use DLF ADP, but for right now, he's going as RB12, and that's right after the likes of CEH, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, J.K. Dobbins. I want Miles Sanders over all of them. So, like, for me, I'm trying to scoop him everywhere I can. You look at the recency bias of Miles Sanders. Nobody liked what he did this year, right? It was plagued with injuries. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles were just plagued again with injuries. They were plagued with nonsense. They were switching quarterbacks, like Peterson's getting fired. Like, there's nothing good right now about the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's why right now is the best time to go and grab him. Let's not. I harp all the time. The guy played behind Saquon Barkley in college. He was fantastic. He was behind amazing talent. He's come out and been amazing talent. He had 5.3 yards per carry this year. He didn't have as many catches, but he had 11 less targets than he did in 2019. He had double the amount of rushing touchdowns, went from 3 to 6, and it was all on less touches. He was extremely efficient again. He's extremely elusive running back. I love the guy. He's very young, still only 23. And I don't know why CEH is ahead of him right now. It's probably just recency bias with being the rookie and still being on Kansas City. But we saw that.
I mean, CEH has Superman as his quarterback. The best quarterback ever to play the game.
That does help. That very much does help. But Josh Jacobs, he's not getting the ball through the air as much as we'd like. And Miles Sanders, like I said, but not playing a lot of games, that's going to be changing. I think we saw Nyheim Hines get the ball a lot. We even saw Jonathan Taylor getting the ball. Every one of their running backs caught catches. So I think that's going to continue. Well, don't talk about Marlon Mack, but RIP. So that's why I love Miles Sanders. Big buy for me right now.
I like that. I like it. I do. I guess. He'll probably be really good in that system.
I think he's going to be. I think I really think
that system's going to be great.
It's going to be. It's just probably the smartest system that's super easy to learn than anybody's ever had because they want easy players.
Oh my god. I can't believe he was reading it word for word off that sheet.
Talk about another great system player, Keenan.
Yeah. Well, my buy is Laviska Shenault. I've been practicing that name all day, trying to get it pronounced perfectly for Antonio because Antonio gets mad when I pronounce his name wrong. But I think all three of us were high on him, right? This past offseason or after the draft. He didn't have a great year like some of the other rookie wide receivers did, but I think his time is coming. Urban Meyer was just hired as their coach there, and he brings an offensive philosophy that's mostly stayed the same throughout his career. He's always done a great job with wide receivers, in particularly slot wide receivers. I know college, NFL, make fun of me. Someone's going to say, well, NFL is different. Well, I think developing talent's the same. A couple wide receivers that were great in the slot at Ohio State were Percy Harvin, Curtis Samuel, Paris Campbell, just to name a few. And I think Shenault will fit perfectly in that role with Shark outside of him and Cole. And I don't even know if he's there after the season on the other side. But I think Shenault fits perfectly in that offense. Urban Meyer's, has had wide receivers like Person Harvin, who's exploded for 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns in 2007 in college. And I think, like I said, I think he fits perfectly in Urban Meyer's system, and that system's perfect for Shenault. But the other thing is they're getting Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence, I've hated him in Clemson because I hate Clemson. But I think Trevor Lawrence is probably one of the best quarterbacks to come out of college, and that offense is going to be really, really good, I think. So I'm buying Shenault, and I think I'm buying everyone on the Jags. I'll buy it one, so or not one. Unless it's a super flex to get Sunshine. I'll definitely buy Robinson. I already bought him in a couple leagues, and I think DJ Shark is also going to be pretty good in that offense.
The one interesting thing about that, obviously, I love it. Is
you should love it.
Even if Justin Fields goes number one, I still think right. But I still think even if he does, that all these Jags players get an upgrade. That they're all going to be great buys still.
Yeah.
Because, like you just said, system-wise, like Justin Fields is going to come in and he knows the system already, so it should play well. Maybe he won't be elite, should play well. Trevor Lawrence, he's going to learn it well.
If I hear the word system one more time. But no, now that you mention it, you have Fields at 2, quarterback?
Oh, yeah, Fields is at 2. Again,
I have him at 4.
I haven't. Full disclosure, I haven't done any college research to date besides just what I see on the surface level.
All right. We'll save that conversation for later.
Oh yeah, we will. So Eric, who's your buy? I know we talked a little bit about him already.
Yeah, Kenny Galladay. Like I talked about earlier, I still think even with Jared Goff as his quarterback, presuming that the Lions franchise tag him, I still think he can definitely finish as a back end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2. And right now he's going as wide receiver 23 in startup drafts. He's still pretty young. And actually, what was he, 26 right now, I think?
27.
Oh, he's 27. So, not super young, but he's got a ton of talent, and he's going to be around for at least another 4 or 5 seasons, I think, producing at a high level. So yeah.
Do you think that even if he isn't on Detroit, obviously whomever's signing him is going to give him big money. They're going to be wanting him. They're going to use him. Do you really think though that can the grass be greener? I guess is what I'm asking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think. It depends. I mean, if he leaves right now, I think there are a lot of really good landing spots for wide receivers at the moment. So I guess it kind of depends on, if he's franchise tagged and then leaves next year or how that kind of plays out. But yeah, I think there's definitely multiple spots right now that the grass could definitely be greener.
Yeah, I really like. I know as a Bills fan, it would be painful to say, but I really would find it intriguing if Deshaun Watson does get traded to the Jets and they wind up getting Kenny Galladay in free agency. They use Brashad Perriman really well. They've obviously got Denzel Mims, so two deep threats with Jamison Crowder over in the slot. You'd be looking at a completely different Jets offense.
What are you trading to get these guys?
Kenny Galladay is a free agent.
Okay. I forgot. All right, never mind. I was gonna say, man, how many draft picks, how many first round picks do they have?
Yeah. I don't know. I think the AFC is about to be the best division in the AFC after this offseason.
No, it's not. It's going to stay the same. The Pats aren't gonna have a quarterback. Tua's going to suck, and the Jets will keep Darnold forever, and we'll win many Super Bowls. Continue.
Yeah, I love where you're at. All right, so I'm going to switch to my sell. It's CeeDee Lamb, and it's when I picked this, I was not happy with my decision because I have him in a few dynasty leagues and I don't see myself selling him. I don't.
Sell him to me.
Why did you
prove it? Put your money where your mouth is.
So when I'm looking at it again in DLF, he's going as the wide receiver 7. That to me is way too high. That's a selection based on nothing but hype. There's nothing proven to show that he's going to finish anywhere near a wide receiver 7 anytime soon. If they keep Amari for another year, which they're going to, they keep Gallup for another year, which they're going to. If they sign Dak, which you hope to God they do, for him to get anywhere near this valuation of the 7th wide receiver, like that's just 3 things that I just listed right there that you need to happen. And then on top of that, you need him to start becoming the number 1. Just alone the number 2 wide receiver target. He was close with Amari, tied for targets almost on average with Dak in the game for the 5 games. But right now, listen to where CeeDee is going. He's going ahead of Calvin Ridley. Would you take CeeDee Lamb or Calvin Ridley?
Ridley.
CeeDee Lamb or DeAndre Hopkins?
Hold on. Oh, I would take CeeDee Lamb over Calvin Ridley.
I'm going to mute you.
Wow. How about I mute myself and you two can discuss this? Go ahead.
He was a top 7 wide receiver in the first 5 games with Dak. And he was still top 20 with a 4th string quarterback. He's going to be absolutely amazing throughout his career. He's going to be fantastic. I would absolutely pay the wide receiver 7 price right now because especially after one more full healthy year with Dak, he's going to be going higher than that.
But you just proved me right there. All you kept saying was wishes and rainbows. He's going to be good. Give him one more year with Dak.
Well, Dak got hurt. He was very good. He was a top 7 wide receiver when Dak was healthy. Any wide receiver with a 4th string quarterback is not going to be good, and he still finished top 20.
Threw the ball 48 times a game. Do you think that's going to continue?
Probably. Are they really going to fix their defense when they have to pay Dak $40 million a year?
Fix their defense a little bit, though. That's the thing. Like I don't see a world right now where CeeDee Lamb is coming anywhere near a top 7 wide receiver. The fact that you have him over Calvin Ridley means you need him. You need him next year to be paying what you're paying right now. You need him to finish at least in the realm of 30 to 40 points behind Calvin Ridley, and that's a lot of points.
What are you saying?
I'm saying like for him to meet that valuation, if Calvin Ridley finishes as top 5 next year, you're going to need Calvin Ridley to finish close, or you're going to need CeeDee Lamb to finish close as a top 12 to even justify what you're paying right now. Other than that, I'd say wait till next season. Sell him right now.
You said he needs to be 40 points behind him?
I'm just saying, like,
he was 50 points behind him this year with a 4th string quarterback.
Correct. And that's why I was saying, like, to justify it, you need to do that. but Calvin Ridley also didn't play all 16 games.
I guess I'm going to be knocking on your door trying to buy some CeeDee Lamb after this.
He doesn't have any stock.
I mean, like, what if Dak doesn't stay? What if they only franchise him? And then if they franchise him a second time, quarterbacks that have been franchised twice in a row have never stayed with their teams. I mean, it's just going to be interesting. Yes, we would love Amari to leave after next year, but right now, I don't know. I guess it would depend on the team. We'll talk some more about that because I know I'm talking a bit about CD. But he had 877 yards in the slot, though. It was the most by any rookie in 15 years. So the guy's hella talented. We talked about him last year. I love him. This isn't a hate on CeeDee Lamb. Like I said, he's ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, ahead of Michael Thomas, ahead of Terry McLaurin. And I think I want CeeDee Lamb. I think I want all of them over CeeDee Lamb.
You're crazy.
So the other day when I had Gibson offered to me for him plus whatever else, you said no. What changed your mind?
Antonio Gibson, Antonio Brown, and a second-round pick, I believe, is what you were offered for.
Yes.
CeeDee. That is still not enough for me, though.
For what?
So if you have Lamb, you're expecting a lot in return, not just
absolutely because like to sell him, you'd be selling him for Antonio Brown, which you're getting nothing, right? The second round pick you have to hope hits, and it was a 12-team league, so you're talking maybe 18 to 20 at that point. I don't think it was an early second. And then now you get Antonio Gibson, where they have McKissick. You're hoping McKissick walks. You don't know enough about Gibson right now to believe. So, like I said, you get nothing proven for what you know is going to become something good in a year or two. I just wouldn't like if you gave me Gibson a first and a second all day, I'd take that.
Okay.
And it was a super flex for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So Keenan, I know again we've talked about your sell for a little bit, but if you want to reiterate anything, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, mine's Justin Herbert. I was hoping they were going to hire an OC like Dable, like we mentioned. Even when Staley was hired, I was like, okay, hire a good offensive coordinator. That could bring some creativity to this offense and can help develop Herbert. But they hired Joe Lombardi. There it is. And I'd mentioned it. He wasn't creative in Detroit. I did read an article where they said that defenses were pretty much calling out the plays before the snap when he was the OC there. So unless things have changed and he's learned a little bit under Sean Payton when he was the quarterback's coach. I mean, when you're the quarterback coach and Drew Brees is QB1, I don't think you're doing much work, but whatever. So I did not like that hire at OC, and I am trying to trade Justin Herbert if I have him. But same thing like Antonio said regarding CeeDee Lamb. You want a good return. You're not just trading him just to trade him. Herbert, especially if you have Herbert in a super flex and you have a couple other quarterbacks that you like on your team, I think you can get a good haul back for Herbert.
Very fair. Very fair. Eric, you got a
interesting one. I've been waiting all show for this one. All show.
Hey now.
All show.
Yeah, my boy Mike Evans is going to be my sell. I think this one's pretty obvious. So, right now he's going as wide receiver 14, which actually surprised me a little bit. I think it's the way he finished the fantasy season, which is on everybody's minds right now. But it's maybe going to be another year with Tom Brady. He could retire this year. If not, it's one more year with Tom Brady.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, and even last year he was up and down. He obviously had huge games, but then he had games where he disappeared. And I mean, obviously we don't know what's going to happen with Godwin. Godwin's potentially going to be gone. He's a free agent this year, so that obviously if Godwin leaves, we have to bump Mike Evans up. Obviously he might not be a sell at that point, but right now I'm thinking they're going to try and get a way to get Godwin back. But when I'm looking at it, what the biggest reason for me is why I'm selling him is because I'm looking at who's behind him and who I could potentially get. So you could potentially get maybe a Juju plus right now, depending on the league. I actually just made this trade, but it was more of a more of a straight up trade. We swapped a few picks. You can get maybe A-Rob plus, Deontay Johnson plus, Keenan Allen plus. I'd take another 2 to 3 years of Keenan Allen plus something else, and I would give away Mike Evans for that. It's just a value you can get right now. I just think you can't pass on it.
The Tom Brady point is I didn't even think about that. That's a very good point. Who's going to be there at quarterback? They don't.
If Tom Brady wins this year and retires.
Didn't we have the same question last year though?
But I mean,
they get Winston back.
Eventually, he's going to retire. He's not going to play forever, and he's 43 years old. Eventually, he's going to stop playing, or he's not going to be good.
I think the only thing that I hadn't thought about, well, not that I hadn't thought about, Bruce Arians probably will only stick as long as Tom Brady goes, is my assumption. So if that's the case, then yes, it probably would be better to get out a year early if you don't want to be a year late.
Yeah, you always want to predict the future before the future catches up to you.
Imagine getting Kenny Galladay plus like a late first for Mike Evans. And right now, that's about where the value's at. Or even a high second round. Would you take Kenny Galladay in a high second or Mike Evans?
I would probably go with Galladay, yeah. As much as I love Evans, I'd probably go with the Galladay.
And you're not going to get that deal next offseason.
No. What did I say? I said Tom Brady will throw 40 touchdowns. Mike Evans will have 15 touchdowns. Brady had his 40, but Evans was what, 14, 13, I think he had.
13.
So 13, yeah. So
you were wrong.
Well, no, I mean, but what I'm getting at, like the yards, I did not expect. He had just over 1,000 yards. I expected way more than that. So if he can go into next year and get 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns again, I'd keep him.
And I think he's still going to have a great year next year.
Right.
But this is we're talking dynasty, and you can get a player 2 to 3 years younger plus something else. And it's a player who could potentially finish higher than him.
Actually, you say that. Galladay's older than Mike Evans.
Well, I mean, we're talking Juju. There were a few other players on that list. Keenan Allen and Galladay are both. But I mean, obviously Keenan Allen's the oldest one. But I mean, Keenan Allen 2 to 3 more years with Justin Herbert. Would you take Keenan Allen plus something for Mike Evans?
Personally, no. What's Allen, like 29? He's got many injuries. I know he's got Herbert. I trust that Tampa Bay will fix it. I know we're doing a lot of ifs and whats because I mean, if Tampa Bay wins this week, there's a chance Brady retires.
I don't think.
Also,
back.
Do you guys think Godwin is re-signed?
I actually don't.
Yeah, I think they sign AB if Brady comes back too.
Honestly, I think I haven't looked much, but like I think there's a chance they might sign Juju. Get the band back together with AB and Juju.
I don't know. They didn't like each other.
I think if they're going to pay Juju, they're just going to pay.
They were trash talking each other on Twitter.
I know. I wonder if Big Ben had to do.
If you're going to pay Juju the money, you might as well just pay Godwin.
Yeah, that's true too. I don't know. I'm just speaking off the cuff how interesting that would be. But yeah, I think that's gonna cover the sells, right? Do you have anything left with Evans and Tampa Bay?
No, that's it.
That's it. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap up. The episode. I think that went better than expected, huh?
Yeah, I thought it went pretty well, as always.
Yeah, there you go. So let's wrap it up here. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at DynastyMafia_FF. Don't forget you can follow us if you're watching us here on YouTube. You got our handles in the corner. You can follow me at Antonio Denisi FF. You can follow Keenan at Keen_716 and Eric at EricD_FF. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, as well as check out our website, DynastyMafiaPodcast.network. Have some good articles, have some videos you can check on there as well, and going to have some good content coming through. We got Jeremy Poplar over at Popes FHH writing a lot of good articles for us as well. That being said, thanks again for listening. Till next week. Well, maybe next. Actually, before I end this, we got the Super Bowl coming up. We're probably going to have an episode right after the Super Bowl and then take a few-week break to figure out some content, figure out some articles, and push that through. So more to come with that as well. Mafia out.
Go Bucks, go.